Confrontation in the halls of Congress today as Minnesota Senator Tina Smith cornered Mike Lee, senator from Utah, about this incredibly reckless and irresponsible tweet that Mike Lee had pinned on Twitter related to the MAGA shooter who shot the lawmakers in Minnesota. But now this was just the tip of the iceberg, because this MAGA shooter set off a pipeline of right-wing misinformation that was literally unprecedented, coming from the usual suspects: Nick Sortor, Gunther Eagleman, Libs of TikTok, Cat Turd, just a deluge of information trying to hide the MAGA identity of this killer. We're going to look at a couple really important pieces of this misinformation, some of the extremist rhetoric coming from these MAGA goons, and then at the end, we're going to look at that confrontation between Tina Smith and Mike Lee. Let's get into it.
An unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband Mark were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination.
Particular podcasts or TV shows or anything online that concerns you?
Well, you listen to Infowars.
Infowars. Oh, you see that? Vance Bolter was an Infowars Alex Jones conspiracy theory guy. That's not a shock.
Did he talk much about Trump? And what did he say, if so?
I was a Trump supporter. Voted for Trump. Do you like Trump? I like Trump.
This guy, I like Trump. Dude, you like Trump now that you know that his love of Trump and his love of Infowars is why he fucking killed those people? Dude, one of the things I want to say about like the Minnesota thing was I have never seen a stream of like reckless misinformation ever in the history of being on social media than I saw on Twitter immediately following the airing of the news about those shootings, with like right-wing accounts straight up lying, like all of them in lockstep, you know, lying about the guy being a Democrat, starting conspiracy theories about Tim Walz killing this woman because she ended health care for undocumented people, like crazy shit. And it was just surges of it, like 100 tweets. It was so crazy. It felt like they were getting fed a playbook of information, like they had received a dossier on how to spin this. I don't know what's going on with those right-wing influencers. I know there's a lot of funding. They get a lot of money, but it really did seem like there was a PR campaign that was being carried out. It was so filled with misinformation. And the scary thing is there's no way to defend that because none of the sites are really moderating the content anymore. Certainly Twitter isn't. Like Elon just spreads that shit. It is pretty scary. There were a whole bunch of right-wingers that were, tweeting disinformation. Like, I want to take you through some of this. One of them here was obviously Benny Johnson. Look at what Benny Johnson did. This was at 1 p.m. after we had very clear information that this guy was a 20-year registered Republican. He was a Trump voter. He had an abortion thing. And Benny Johnson posts proof the Dem Party has a domestic terrorist organization. And he says 2 Minnesota reps were shot by a left-wing Tim Walz appointee. Political vengeance. But dude, look at this. The Democratic Party needs to be treated like a domestic terrorist organization. And he pinned this. They're using the NGO tag when he went to Congo, using the terms NGO. Benny's even putting USAID attached to this shit. And they're doing all this crazy conspiracy shit from the beginning, but they're not correcting it. This is particularly dangerous, saying that the Democratic Party is a domestic terrorist organization. That's fucking wild. Now, Libs of TikTok was doing the same shit. Look at what she was doing. Again, a Tim Walz appointee with No Kings flyers, right? They're attaching it to the No Kings. Right from the start, Laura Loomer said a Democrat appointed by Tim Walz, he wasn't a Democrat, went into the home and killed a Democratic lawmaker who voted with Republicans to take health care away from undocumented people, right? And so she was instantly trying to tie Tim Walz, like making it seem as though Tim Walz had assassinated this woman because she voted to like not give health care to undocumented people. I mean, dude, that is insane. And he's not a Democrat. He's very much a Republican. Did you guys see what Mike Lee posted? Did you see this guy? Do you know who Mike Lee is? He's senator from Utah. He's a fucking douchebag. This fucking guy. Okay? Yeah, dude, this guy is such a cockknocker. But look at his pinned tweet. Okay? 15 hours ago says, this is what happened when Marxists don't get their way. 4.5 million views. Now, of course, this guy, the implication is that he's a Democrat, that he's a left-wing person, which he's not. But like, bro, he is a terrible fucking person. Now, obviously, that Mike Lee tweet is really alarming with the Marxist tag, because this ties into that Trump rhetoric. He was using it against Kamala, the communist, Marxist, socialist, etc., and ties in with Benny talking about the Democrats being a domestic terrorist organization. It ties in with that dehumanizing rhetoric about the Democrats and everyone who's not MAGA being the enemy within. And this is particularly dangerous when the MAGA base are religious zealots that are starting to see their political opponents as demons needing extermination. We're going down a really dirty road here, and we have to start doing something about this. This is not going to end well. Now, this is where Tina Smith comes in, because she immediately went after Mike Lee to call him out on this post. And apparently he was not expecting the pushback.
Your colleague in the Senate, Republican Mike Lee of Utah, in the aftermath of this attack, he posted two things. One, he said, quote, "This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way." And then in an apparent reference to the governor, Tim Walz, he wrote, "Nightmare on Walt Street." You were seen talking to Senator Lee on Capitol Hill earlier. What did you say to him?
Well, I wanted Senator Lee, who, I mean, honestly, I don't have much, I don't know him well. We have not dealt with each other that much. I wanted him to know about the consequence of his words. And I went to him and I said, you know, your message on social media showed the image of the man who killed my friend, potentially minutes before that happened. And your message was, this is what happens. You need to take responsibility and accountability for what you are saying and doing out there in the social media world. And I wanted him to hear that from me directly, and not to for me to tweet out at him. I think that is important, that he understands, again, the consequence of what the impact that his words have on people who are going through so much pain and trauma. This is not a joke. And he needs to understand over 7 million people dialed into his message on social media. He has a powerful platform. He should not be using it to spread misinformation and to basically make a joke of the murder of people, of public servants.
What did he have to say when you confronted him with that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think this is a person who's used to being confronted. I don't think he's somebody who's used to being challenged, and I think he didn't quite know what to do. I approached him from a position of respect and wanting him to understand what I thought, and he didn't have that much to say. What he needs to do is he needs to apologize. I really think that he should take that post down. To indicate that somehow this was some sort of a Marxist leftist attack that causes violence is completely false. He's spreading that misinformation, and he should correct that. I didn't get any of that from him earlier this evening, but I hope that what I said sunk in, and that he, as my mother used to say, words have consequences, and his words have a ton of consequence, and he should own that.
And in a typical MAGA move, right afterwards, when reporters confronted Mike Lee, this is what he did.
Could you tell us about your conversation with Senator Smith? Do you regret your tweet? Do you stand by the post that you made on X?
Have you had a productive conversation about that post? Was that what the senator wanted to speak to you about?
What did you think of the meeting you just came from?
Oh, that's funny, huh? They're not too tough when they're not on Twitter, when their thumbs aren't doing the work. He's got his little lackey covering his face. What a coward, man. This is the typical MAGA Trumpist shit. These guys are cowards. Now, of course, remember, MAGA Mike Johnson was ready to censure 𝗙ecie𝗶ဖိh, the senator, for simply walking in and asking a question to Kristi Noem. So, what do you think? You think Mike Johnson's going to be censuring Mike Lee for this incredibly irresponsible tweet that's certain to provoke more right-wing violence? I don't think so. All right, keep that mind fit, people. Keep up the resistance. We've got some work to do. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.